I do want to thank, again, the Organizations for Security and Cooperation in Europe's Office on Democratic Institutions and Human Rights for inviting me to participate in this working session. The working session that you've all been so responsive to, entitled Combating Hate Crimes and Ensuring Effective Protection Against Discrimination. I must tell you, I've been deeply flattered and honored to have the opportunity to listen to each and every one of you talk about the challenges of hate crimes in your society. I would also be remiss if I did not thank my own delegation from the United States of America for its fantastic contributions along these lines. It is important to recognize that having a federal government actually talk about the issues of hate crimes in our country. One of the things that was left out is the extraordinary response that came from our government at the highest level. Even the President of the United States, Barack Obama, responded to those awful incidents of hate crimes, showing in many ways how decisive a response should be to these kind of cases at the very highest level. Oftentimes we let these things go with just a brush off, and I've seen many politicians, even in my own country, do those things. But the quick response in being the perpetrator to justice, and the quick response by our president in denouncing these issues, and every entity of our government doing these things as well, in my opinion, is a great demonstration of how things should be done, not only there, but perhaps in other places. I'd also say, as controversial as this might sound, I want to thank our friends from the Russian Federation for reminding us of the challenges of even policing in our society. They are absolutely right when they raise issues of the Michael Brown case. I would also mention that in that Michael Brown case, two issues are very, very important. If you get a chance, please go online and get a chance to listen to the interview of Dan Wilson, the police officer that killed Michael Brown, the 18-year-old unarmed, college-bound young African-American man. Indeed, what you'll hear is a description that came from a law enforcement official in our society that actually described Michael Brown in very inhumane terms. That is, he described his actions as being very animalistic. He described the gaze on his face as being one that was much like a killer shark than a human being, in many ways giving him just the opportunity he needed and the justification with himself and otherwise to kill this unarmed young man. So I'm delighted that he raised those issues in those terms. And going back to my government again, I would thank the federal government of the United States for the very insightful review that was done on that case. Our Department of Justice not only analyzed what happened in that incident, but also analyzed the challenges and problems in the community of Ferguson, Missouri, that actually led very well to those cases. The lack of democratization that formed a government structure that had such little regard for racial and ethnic minorities is very much at the bottom of this. And again, I thank the Justice Department under the leadership of Loretta Lynch, and at that time, Eric Holder, for that great response. But as we talk about these issues, one of the things that I have to say, perhaps I did not do very well in my role as an introductor, but I would hope that perhaps at another session, we can move from hate crimes to the issues of effective protection against discrimination. Many of the issues that were missing, quite frankly, in this discussion were the issues of policing overall, the need for diversity and screening along those lines as we think about solutions, actually the oversight and power that must be given to communities that are policed by those that sometimes overuse that authority in a most barbaric way. Let's talk about issues of sentencing disparities as we look at racial and ethnic minorities and the injustice that's too often done by our justice systems. And again, I give a commendation to our federal government because even Eric Holder, our former Attorney General, actually testified before the U.S. Sentencing Commission on the real problems with mandatory minimum sentences and its racial and ethnic disparity in our country and took those issues on. I hope we can talk about those kind of issues well as groups like this begin to continue to gather. As we talk about disparities and issues of employment discrimination,